Chez. How we doing?
Not bad, mate, not bad.
Episode 1. No one's going to watch.
Right. No, I reckon some people will watch and then they'll be like, nah, it's boring.
I reckon all the guys up the street will watch just to see how awkward we actually are.
Absolutely, yeah. Right, what are we talking about today then, mate? How we got started in...
Yeah, so we've started this, haven't we, because we want to do something a bit different. You know, hair tutorials are great, but we want to keep it real and just show the real side of barbering and talk about what it is that got us into the industry.
I'm not going to do hair tutorials because we're just not good enough.
Well, yeah, basically, we want to try and find YouTube
I don't want to show you how
elsewhere.
to. Yeah, I don't want to show you how to cut hair, but not cut hair. So I'd much rather not. But yeah, so how much are you interested in yours actually? Because I hear you pop up in the shop saying about certain things, and I've heard you do 300 different things. So why don't you start, mate? Because yours is, I'm interested in yours. Mine's quite boring.
I'm very much one of these people that if I like something, I obsess over it, and I learn everything about it. And this one just turned into a job, really. I used to work for Tesco head office, and I was an area manager, and just obsessed with getting my hair cut. I was growing a beard out for the first time, and I just wanted to look nice and presentable and
Can't
not
imagine
look
without a beard.
scruffy. Awful.
Can't imagine.
So I was going to a barber like every single week, and then I got promoted to North London, which was cool, but I couldn't get to my barber in Essex, so I started visiting different barber shops. And I thought, there must be a website out there that just tells me where's good and where's bad, because I'm having so many bad haircuts and beard trims. And there wasn't, so I created one. And it's called thatlittlebarbershop.com. And you go on there and it would have like star ratings and maps and what they were like, what sort of clientele they were, and what the price range was. I mean, looking back now, extremely egotistical to be doing something like that and not being a barber myself. But from that I got picked up by a couple of barber magazines. And one day we were content planning, and at this point I was no longer an area manager, I was just fixed in the office. And they were saying, you know, it'd be cool to do something similar to what got you in the industry. And I sort of said, I don't do that anymore, I don't travel around. What would be really cool was if maybe I travelled to different academies. I mean, someone in the magazine's trained, so we know what we're talking about. Because I'd hate to do an interview and just assume someone is saying the right technical language of a haircut and I'm just printing it.
Yeah.
Also, I want to learn how to cut hair because I'm now obsessed with this barbering thing. And then it's content for a year. Everyone wins. So I went off to Sid Sutton in Nottingham to do my initial training. And over that year, visited lots of different academies. Did the Mike Taylor Academy, did some stuff with Bluebeard's Revenge, did some stuff with Hudson Hair. And then, yeah, just went ham on a load of friends and
Nice.
Worked my way out of Tesco into the industry.
It's a pretty good way. It's very, well, I say strange, don't mean it's strange, but like, well, it's like, I suppose it's not strange, isn't it, really? You're working in one job, you've not willing to do that, you've gone out of it, sort of thing. So but it's a pretty good way to have done it, sort of thing. Obviously, like all the magazine stuff and all that you've done as well.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's weird, I've done it the wrong way. Do you know what I mean? Most barbers start as young college graduates.
Do barbering and they go like, no, I'm fed up now, I'm going to go and write, I'm going to go write articles and magazine stuff.
I've done the other
way around.
And now I'm like, can someone write an article about me, please?
I feel that's probably helped you quite a bit in terms of like contacts, getting to know people, getting in the in the industry, seeing different things, getting a bit more experience in different areas and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I reckon that's definitely helped you.
It's funny, as a journalist, I never saw any ego in the industry. As a barber, I do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a journalist, I think you just take everything at face value. The bigger the ego, the better the article. You've got more to write about. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think many barbers have egos.
No. But yeah, I think walking around these events as a barber, it very much felt.
Yeah.
You're just a journalist. You shouldn't be on that stage. You shouldn't be doing.
What are you doing, mate? Yeah. What are you
You're
doing?
stepping on my territory now.
You should be writing about me doing it.
Yeah, that's kind of how it felt. So it's a bit funny. What about you, though, man? How did you enter into this strange world?
So I started off. So mine was more hairdressing. So I was 18, didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. Had no job. Was at home. And Lee Stafford. Have you heard of Lee Stafford, yeah?
Yeah.
Lee Stafford's basically like a god to me. So he had a TV show at the time. And it wasn't the thing he did with This Morning stuff. It was more like one. Can't for the life of me.
Salon with Eddie Fiona?
No. It was one that just followed him.
Oh,
it was just him. So it was his life. We just followed him around, showed him back in Essex and in London when he opened up the Soho. Then it was basically around the time he opened his Brighton shop. And I remember I'd always liked fashion and hair and stuff like that. And
really?
I've dipped a lot, but so Harsh, Ken, harsh. But he had this TV show on, and that was really interesting. Watched it and that, and got really into it. And there was one bit where he's like, it showed him on stage, and like he put all of this woman's hair over to the side, so like all of it was over on one side. He's tied it into a bun, hairsprayed it, literally just cut it like that. Sat her back up, just gone like that, her hair's fell into place, literally perfect, and he just literally in the most gangster way, just kind of looked at the crowd as if to go like, you're welcome, and
like
then
that
walked
thug
off.
life with the glasses and the
Oh,
cigar.
honestly, and then he just walked off, and I think it's one of the only times in my life I've sat there watching something and just kind of looked at it and was just like, and then I rewound it, I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Like, how did he just do? And he didn't do it. It was like that kind of like you accept it, like the way he did it was like like the way he bowled off was like, yeah, because he was the man. I mean, like what hairdresser of the year, like 97 hairdresser / barber. And the way he sort of transitioned into it, when you look at those images back there and stuff like that, like they're just, I think they literally got like people off the street, like gave them haircuts, dressed them up, and put them in the magazine, and that paid them and stuff like that. Like, so yeah, Lee Stafford was like, he's the it really for men's hair sort of thing. So yeah, that really got me into it. So all of a sudden I was like, sort of say, quite obsessive with things when I get into them. So from there on I was like, fuck, like I want to be a hairdresser. A few years later I didn't get into it quite as quick. So lovely. But then I started going, obviously because like his first hair salon was in Southend.
Yeah.
House that hair built, Old Stafford, and so I was dating a girl and I started going to the same hairdressers that she went, and I think like Stafford at that time, I think he was on the end, I think it was near the end of it being closed down, so because I think his London one was the one that did I think he's still got that one. But anyway, yeah, so the place I went to, and that was like, fair play to them, it was like probably it was the best shop in Southend, like hair wise and stuff like that. So I used to get my hair cut there and that, and then I rang them one day, I was like, look, I was 21 at the time, I'd literally a couple of months, right, I think I'd literally just turned 21. So kind of older than you'd normally be for a junior. But I was like, look, obviously I actually spoke to the girl that cut my hair, and I was like, look, I've seen that you've wanted a junior, and like I want to do it any chance, and that. And she was like, yeah, come on in, we'll go. So I did that it was albeit briefly, but like, I sort of started to get taught like the basics, like sets and perms, a bit of colour, and like, but that's a whole different experience and a whole different story. I'd be here for ages, so that didn't go overly well. So I left that, but that left a very bitter taste in my mouth because of the way I'm not like, oh look at me, like, but all of the juniors were treated like shit. Anyone that's in hairdressers or been in hairdressing that will know what it's like as a junior in hairdressing.
Standard, doesn't it?
It got to a point where there was 4 juniors across 6 stylists, and they all left because I think one person's mum pulled them out of it because they saw how they were being treated, and I was like, I'm not having that. So they got left. I was like the one junior across 6 stylists. Anyway, so yeah, kind of left a bit of a back, but I still cut like my friend's hair and stuff like that. And then at that sort of point, there was one male stylist there, Tom. Shout out Tom if you watch this. I love Tom. I don't know, he might he sees stuff here and there, but Tom, like, he lives in America now. He's done like campaigns for Fred Perry. Awesome hairdresser, but he's also a barber as well. So he's like double threat. That man's brilliant, and he's a lovely lad. But I remember he said about this was back like 2008. Barbering was like generational thing. It was older dudes in their white coats and that, and it was like, oh, barbering, I just nip in there, like get your hair cut there if you're old, sort of thing.
Yeah.
He didn't have the boom. So, but he'd said back then, it was like, I want to learn barbering, would you be interested? I was like, yeah, I'd be well up for that. Never materialised, we didn't get the training or anything like that, but Tom then left and he went off. I think he then moved to London and went to a barber shop and that, and that's how he did that. And then I just kind of, I was like cutting my dad's hair, my brother's hair, just trying to practice on as many. So over like years and years and years, I carried on cutting hair here and there, I say friends, family and stuff like that. And then Beck, my wife, she then said, and I'd met Beck, moved up to Norwich, was working for RBS, hated it, like literally hated it, miserable. And then Beck had gone to the hospital. She'd gone to the doctor, sorry, because we thought we'd found something we didn't want to find, and but it turned out she was pregnant with Kills, and I think literally, and I'd started to think I'd actually booked myself in for like a 2-day like tester course in barbering.
Nice.
It's like one of those ones where they charge like 400 quid, but you just literally watch and hold a pair of clippers. And it's like those stupid looking learns that you do fuck all from. And then I sort of thought about that, and then Beck said that, and I was like, I felt like that was the sign, like that was the kick up the arse. I was like, right, I need to get back into this properly. So I was having a cut at a barber shop in Norwich called Courage Noble. Shout out to the boys, and they sort of like Rob, who cuts my hair, Rob Loxon, great barber, great dude. He said, "Oh, we all trained here in Norwich. Why don't you have a look?" Sort of thing. Did train there, and then luckily, like I didn't get to go in there much, but like Simon, who owns Coach Noble, so I sort of said to him, I was like, "Look, any chance I can just hang out on Saturdays, sort of thing, just to kind of get the feel for it?" And he went, "Yeah, by all means, mate." Unfortunately, because like by that point, by the time I then qualified and stuff like that and got in there, Killy was a couple of months old, so it was difficult. So trying to do childcare stuff like that, so I didn't get in there as much, and also still working. So I did that, and then went into a barber shop in Norwich very, very briefly. There was a new shop, and I was there literally all of 5 minutes. But yeah, sort of did that, and then went down to got in touch with Paul at Blackney Moor in Brighton. I said, again, any chance I can like just come hang out, watch you guys? I said, "I'll fetch your coffee, fetch your lunch, do your bloody cleaning, I don't care, like I just want to come down and learn." Like again, that very obsessed, I was like, I don't care what I've got to do, I want it. And again, Paul got back to me and very kindly said, "Yeah, come on down." I think I went down there for 2 weeks, and then sort of came back to a drawing board sort of thing, because I couldn't stay down there sort of thing. And there was loads of shops in Norwich, but no disrespect, like Courage and Noble, I'd have gone there in a heartbeat, but they were only the one shop at the time. They've now got two, and they just didn't have the space. And it was kind of like, right, well, what do I do? And I say there wasn't really any shops that I wanted to. And again, with like my anxiety and stuff like that, I was very much like, different sort of shops, would I fit in them and stuff like that, would I get on alright, etc, etc. So I took a very, 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 very big gamble. And but the thing is, again, like with that obsessed, like you're sort of saying, like it's good that you said that, because at times I've been very obsessed with it to a point of thinking I've been a bit overboard here. I got to a point where Beck would be like, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, "I'm watching hair tutorial." And then it got to a point where she'd go, "Which one are you watching now? Like, what are you watching now? What haircut?" Just like, because she knew that was all I was watching all day.
My wife's the same. She'll hear the music and go, "Oh, that's scoring."
Like if I weren't holding kills or like feeding him, I had my phone, and I'm just like glued to it and like that, just watching hair tutorials. So like I obsessed over it, but then I think the obsession also kind of backfired, because that's how so it started Shadow Gallery 3 years ago, just up the road. From scratch, no background here, no friends in barbering, no customers here or people like I used to know, anything like that. Literally from scratch, opened the doors, and it was like, right, hopefully this will work. But I knew it would, because of how obsessed I was with it. Like it was constantly watching. Like I've said to Will, I was like, watch as many, and he does, like bless him, fair play to him. And that's where he's come on leaps and bounds. I was like, just watch as much as you can. So I watched all of these different barbers, which helped, but then also it had that detrimental effect where I'm not as good as him. That haircut's way too good. I'm not at that level. I can't do that. And then like that kind of fucked it for me a little bit, because I started then doing haircuts, which now looking back I was like, that was a solid haircut, there was nothing wrong with it. But then I'm like watching customers go down the street, and I'm just like, oh, fuck, was that any good? Are they going to come back? Are they happy?
See them check themselves in their shop window. You go, are they happy window, or are they looking because it's shit? And you're like constantly overanalyzing. So I think we said about this, we've discussed it already. I like just unfollowed all of the barbers that I followed, because it was not having the effect it needed to be, because I wasn't looking at them like, right, that's inspiring me, I'm going to work harder, cool. I'm not that good. But then later on you find out that they're Photoshop photos, which again, I know barbering we use the camera a lot now, and I like that, but we don't sit there editing it for 25 minutes. We go like, right, stick it through we just want it to be a little bit lighter, because the shop lights in aren't that great, but it's not like, right, we're doing that, tweak that, make that skin fade look cleaner. So to any newer barbers that might be watching this, or barbers like, there's no perfect haircut. You can get bloody close to it, where you can look at it and you'll be like, oh, like that, and they'll walk out the shop and you'll be like high-fiving yourself, didn't you? We all have those days where we'll be like, do you see that haircut? We all have those days, but then there's other days when you're just like, right, it's happy enough, I'm happy with it to go out the shop, but I'm not happy with it. And then you stay and you're just analysing it and take a photo, and then you're just like, there's one bit of hair, like I just want to. It's funny though, isn't it? Because you talk about how 2008-ish barbershops weren't really a thing. I think in the 90s they really died out, because salons were the one.
Became so massive.
And it was sort of mid-2010s, I think, that this boom really happened. I might get my date slightly wrong, But I think what's interesting is back then, when they weren't that popular, barbers weren't obsessing over one strand of hair being out of place. No one took photos. Everyone had either photos on the wall or a physical. I remember the one I used to go to, a physical photo album. An actual album, like a family
album.
Tattooing now. But it is cut out of OK magazine and The Sun, and you might have David Hasselhoff and The Rock, and you know, you've got all these different. I want a David Beckham today, right? Which one? 96 David Beckham, 98 David Beckham. Do you want the mohawk that A.D. Phelan gave him? You know, that's what it was, and there wasn't that. Oh my God, that haircut's not perfect, and the customer didn't know if it was perfect or not. The customers didn't have any education in hair like now. There's free education for customers, which is brilliant, but also incredibly detrimental for us because I think it puts us under even more pressure. Because, as I say, in 1998, would one of our dads walked out of a barber shop and gone, that doesn't sit right, I'm going to go find a different barber? No, they'll go, oh Steve, last time you cut me hair, mate, a little bit long here, can you go a bit shorter here for me? There was none of that education.
They're not going to be like, oh, it wasn't blended into the ridge properly. And
exactly,
I don't think you sectioned it correctly on top.
It was a bit heavy around my elbow, they didn't
you didn't diamond section it for like to bring that out for my pomp, it looks a bit funny. Like, they're just like, that'll do it shorter. Like,
so it's changed, which is great, because I think we're more obsessive about providing better service and a better haircut, a better sort of scenario for them to be in, a nicer shop. You know, try and encourage as much personality into the industry as well, but it's also detrimental because, you know, we're beating ourselves up daily, and customers have got an unrealistic expectation of what that haircut's going to look like, because you go on to Google, and one that comes to me all the time, I'm good friends with Alan Beak, one of the best, most inspirational barbers I think I've come across, just keeps it real. But they keep bringing me this picture of this kid, and I'm like, that's great, I'm not Alan Beak. And I stopped trying to be him a while ago because I'm not going to get there. No, and it's a great picture, but you know, you Google this and you're either going to get these top end, you know, educators and directors of massive companies that are at the top of their game, or you're going to get Photoshop bullshit. And either way, I don't feel I can compete with that. I can give you a bloody good haircut that's right for you, and it might be the same haircut, but I'm not as good behind the camera. Or I'm not as good at styling, and you know.
And I think that's the issue as well, is that a lot of us do, like they say, like you go like, oh, I'm not this person, I'm not that barber, I'm not as good as this barber, I'm not as that, and that's the thing. It's like, so even like the top barbers that everyone will look at and everyone loves, and they've got their 20,000 followers, and everyone kind of looks at, it's like, oh, they're the ones I'm supposed to follow, they're the ones. What's to say that there ain't a barber in Newquay that has no interest in social media, that ain't the best barber in this entire country? You don't know where they are. It's like, you know, in anything, like with footballers, you know, you see the professionals and you feel like, oh, they're obviously the best. It's like, what's to say that there ain't a better player than all of them combined that just ain't been scouted because they live in a tiny little town, or they're not really interested in becoming a footballer. It's the same with hair. So like, I think once I stopped beating myself up going like, I'm trying to be like this and I'm trying to be like that barber and stuff like that, it was just like, that's what I mean. I was like, I just need to focus on just knuckling down to cut hair as best that I can. So that I'm at a stage where I'm putting out work every day that I'm happy with, that has the reputation to shop at all. Not even if it doesn't even matter if you have a shop or not. Still, who cut your hair? Ken did. Who cut your hair? Ched. Not Shadow Gallery cut it, or this shop or that. But if you're a shop owner and it's just you, obviously, you want your shop's reputation to be as strong as possible. But you just need to be yourself, because at the end of the day, social media is like, it is great as bad as it's good. I always try to say, like, all of the followers that we've got for the shop pretty much are either customers or they're other barbers. But if Instagram literally died tomorrow, we'd still be as busy next week as we were last week, because none of them really. No, customers don't. They haven't come to me going like, oh, I follow you because you've got an Instagram. I come to you for a haircut because I saw. I think out of literally the 3 years, I think there's 3 customers that come to me that said I found you on Instagram. But through like pop-ups or something like that. Other than that, the what we've built over the last 3 years has been from people walking past, word of mouth, looking for shops in Ipswich, seeing the Google rating, seeing it's at the top, and then coming in off of that because of what we've worked hard pushing for them. Because again, that reputation hasn't come from Instagram or social media, or I saw your haircut photo had 1,000 likes, so that's why I've come in. It's just like none of that. Again, it's nice to have. Don't get me wrong. If I put up a picture of a haircut I was really happy with and everyone went mad for it and it got I'm not going to go like, oh no, disgusting, delete it. Oh, that's really, really nice. I'm not saying that anyone that enjoys that or anything like that is wrong. I'm just saying is that unfortunately, I was watching something the other day and Beck said, she goes, oh, that was like, Instagram ain't real. You put up what you want to put up, you know. So it's just, I think it can be in equal parts brilliant, Instagram, because I love it that we can put out there, we've got space today, we've got gaps, we're closed that day, we're closed this day, we're opening longer this day, we've got this going on now, because Because it's good because customers come and go like, oh, saw it on Instagram, snapped it up.
Yeah, exactly,
Thank. So like we use it as that tool of like letting customers know and informing them and stuff like that, which all goes towards that customer service element, not because we're trying to get tons of likes or followers or anything like that sort of thing. So
I bought a really good ebook from a guy that runs a sort of brand called the Bad Man brand. It's worth checking out. It's really, really good. And
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
The first sort of sentence of this ebook was, "Fuck this bullshit that," and I was like, "Oh, this guy speaks my language.
Yeah.
I've not just bought some literature here. Do you know what I mean? I've bought something he's written from the heart." And he's kind of gone on there. You know, we as barbers try and sell our product, which is a haircut, to other barbers, but they're not going to come and spend money in our shop. They're not going to, you know, do anything to support us financially, which is why we're all here, other than nice, like that, great haircut, bro, fire emoji, flames. Bullshit. If we're going to be posting on social media, I think we need to be targeting customers. So rather than hashtag barber gang, we should be putting hashtag Ipswich hair, for an example. Because that's our target audience. They're the ones who are going to support us. They're the ones that are going to spend money. And I remember saying this to a barber when I was still a journalist, and they were talking about the awards, which are great, don't get me wrong. I've entered for some myself because it's an ego boost for us and it's validation from our peers that we're doing a good job. They were talking about their stage work. Again, I've done some of that. It's more validation for myself though. They were talking about magazines, they were talking about likes, followers, blah, 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 blah. And I said, but at the end of the day, you're still someone's local barber. At the end of the day, that little 5-year-old that comes to you every Saturday morning,
has no
and
idea
Bob with the, you know, comb over who's barely got any hair left, they don't care. They like you for your personality, your quality of haircut, your price point and your location. And it sort of upset them a little bit, ruffled some feathers, but that's something I've always tried to stay true to, is we're just someone's local barber at the end of the day, and we are not indispensable.
No, it's like I always sort of say, it's like I love this trade, I love this industry, I love what I do. But when you really just like put it down to the brass like tacks of it, it's like you come in, I cut your hair, it goes on the floor, I put it in the bin. Like that is, and again, but like that's the thing. It's like saying it like that, I sound like someone that doesn't like what I do, or that I'm putting the industry down. I just think that some people need to realise, I love the creative side of it. I love it when there's certain customers that come in and that, and like, you know, they go, do what you want, mate. You know, doing a bloody great big, you know, mohawk mullet, this lime green, like that the other, like on Monday. Guys come in, one side of his haircut, or one side of his you know, mohawk is one colour, the other side's the other, and it's like up old school punk. Days like that, like it's awesome and stuff like that. But then, like you say, but then the next haircut is, all right, I want a 2 back and sides and a little bit off the top. Nothing else, like nothing. Then the next one after that, I'd be like, oh, a 1 back and sides. And then you might get like, I want a real cool pompadour with fenders and DA and stuff. And you're like, oh, see, I love the creative side of it. I love being able to get creative and stuff like that. But unfortunately, like that's not the be all and end all, because as like you sort of say, like when you, and if you are a stage, I try to say, I've been thinking about this. If you're like stage barber, and that's all you do, you don't work in a shop, you don't do anything. If you were just getting paid just to be a stage barber, just to go around on stage doing exhibitions and stuff like that, then that's fine. You can have that creativity all the time. But I think a lot of barbers think that that's all there is. And then all of the average Joes like, you know, myself and stuff like that will look at that and it's like, but I'm not doing that every day because my shop is a, like I say, it's all walks of life. Some people come in here and they do want really, really outlandish, really cool haircuts. Go wild, mate. Do what you want. I'll leave it in your hand. Like you were sort of saying, shop. You know, you've said to me like, you've got in all the mullets and cool haircuts and stuff like that here. I don't get any of that. Because again, location, but again, it's also the type of shop you are and the way you are. Like say, the brand you build for yourself and stuff like that is what attracts people. And then you get to do that sort of stuff. But like, say stage work and everything like that and awards. Don't get me wrong. Like if I out of nowhere and now it's like, oh, you've been entered into this and stuff like that through whatever, and you're up for Barber of the Year or something like that, I'm not going to be like, oh, disgusting. I'd be like, oh, it's really nice. That's lovely. But like, it's not something I'm desperate for. I want this shop to be packed. I want you to be packed every day. I want Will to be packed every day. I want me to be packed every day. I want customers to be happy, leaving good reviews, telling people we're brilliant and this, that, and the other. I want, you know, like I say, the chair spinning and the till ringing sort of thing. Like you need
that's
that.
Exactly. We want validation from customers.
Not
from other
don't
people
get
in
me
the
wrong.
industry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nice
Yeah,
when
when
like,
you
another
say
barber goes, that's a wicked haircut. It feels great.
Yeah.
You know what makes me feel so much better is when I put up on my story, had a cancellation for 3:30, and I get a response on Instagram or something, just booked it. That's what it's for.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you say to me like, oh man, that haircut looks great. It's like, thank you mate, really appreciate that. You put it up. That's something like our Instagram's kind of putting the work up so that if anyone does go past the shop and goes, oh, I'll check them out on Instagram, they see our portfolio.
Exactly.
They see the work that we put out, so they can see that we're worth what we charge and what we do and blah blah blah. But then if another barber does go, oh mate, quality work, you're like, because you know that they know what they're looking at. You know that they can spot it and like not go like, oh yeah, this is great, and you can be like, this is awful.
But it's really easy at the same time when you don't get that to go, oh, that's crap.
Oh yeah, it's not very. Yeah, I haven't had loads of people say it's a really great haircut.
I did it yesterday. I put up a picture that was in Hairdresser's Journal, which is like, bloody hell, I've got a picture in there. Stuck it up, 10 likes.
Yeah,
so I'm instantly going, oh, it's a shit haircut. Oh, I did a bad. No, I'm genuinely, it's one of the best haircuts I think I've ever done. I love it. It's a great picture. He's giving the 2 finger salute to the camera. Love it.
Yeah.
And me a year ago would have got so hung up on those 10 likes I'd have probably deleted the picture. Whereas now I'm like, no, I want to leave it up there. I want to show people what it is that I do.
There's haircuts I've put up and I've been really, really, really... Again, I know it all goes down to the bloody algorithms and all that sort of shit. You've got to post at certain times of the day for people to see it more and everything. Like I was sort of thought, I was like, most of the time, I stopped posting haircut pictures during the day because I was like, all the people I probably want to see it in terms of liking it is other barbers and they're all working.
Yeah.
So, but then I got out of that mentality of just like, oh, put it up because I'm desperate for them. So now I kind of, there might be a haircut that I probably think like is the best haircut I've ever done. And like you sort of say, it might have like 14 likes.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but it's up there. So if any customer that's then potentially going to start coming to me 2 weekly for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
That's money into the shop. That's me. But so like for me, it's when you hear a customer say like, oh, so how'd you hear about the shop, mate? Oh, my mate told me to come here. Told me not to go anywhere else. It was here. That I will take any day over any kind of award or anything like that. And that's the truth. I say it'll be on bloody camera. Like I will take that any day of the week. You know, hearing people come in and go, like, you know, the other day. There was a group chat. I'll tell you what. The group chat. You know, with the girl with the group chat, and she said like, oh, I asked where to go, and like unanimously everyone said Shadow Gallery.
Yeah.
Hearing that is just outrageous. It's awesome because it's not like 1 or 2 people go like, oh, I've been here. This is quite good, and there's other shops. The whole group chat said here.
Yeah.
Hearing stuff like that, or even if it's just like, my mate come here, they said give you a go, you know, said you do a good haircut, I'm here.
Yeah.
That's brilliant because again, that's like someone was that happy to tell someone else you should go here, mate. I'm not trying to tell you where you need to go, but you need to go here.
100%.
Like that's the best part of it, I think. And like again, if you do win awards and stuff like that, like it would be awesome to sort of show that your work is. But like I think I just think unfortunately for me, and again it's my opinion, there's some barbers that are in it solely for that, and then I wonder what their work is in their barbershop on a Monday morning when they're not on stage.
Yeah.
And I wonder like, are you putting as much effort into it? Are you into it as much? For John, as I say, wants a full back and sides, scissor cut, or or a scissor cut all over with just like literally, and you're like, it's not really much here. Those like this sort of working class cut sort of thing. I always wonder like, are you putting as much effort into that sort of thing? Because if you are, fair play, fair play to you, go nuts. But then
I think what I love as well is when this shop, which I'll try and get some little bits of footage in so people can see the shop. It's a bloody cool shop. It's the coolest shop I've worked in. It's cool. It's all workshop themed if you haven't seen it. What I like is when you get, I expect the skin fades, the mullets, all these cool haircuts. When I get a 50-year-old bloke who works in insurance who saw us online, or his wife saw us online and booked in,
and they still think to come in,
and they sit down and they don't feel intimidated to come in, and they want to be involved in this environment, that's when I feel like we've really hit the nail on the head, because we're not isolating a particular part of society to say, you're not cool enough to come here. Hey, we're not cool. We just have the balls to pretend to be cool, and people think we're cool.
We very much
fake it till you make it.
But no, that's quite right. Like you say, like we've both got elderly sort of regulars. Like I've got sort of older ladies that come into me that have short hair.
Yeah.
We've got you've got the kids. We have like sort of teenagers. We get girls that have been to other barbershops and been turned away because they're girls. So you'd think that would really put them off going anywhere else. But then they've come here, big smile on their face, gone like
That's something we should cover as well, because I found it since I've worked in Ipswich the last nearly 3 years. A lot of girls have come to me in various shops and said, well, I've only worked in 2 shops, but you know what I mean. And they've said, I've been to X amount of shops in Ipswich and they've turned me away because I'm a girl, but I just want a barber haircut. You've had the same here though, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of
Is it an Ipswich
Again,
thing, or is it a barber industry thing?
You try not to generalise and go like, I just think they're all like this, because you don't know. For all I know, there could be tons of other barber shops. I mean, I say this, there's another like Slog and Hustle. I know full well that if a girl walked in there, they would cut their hair straight away.
Yeah.
So I know there is barber shops here and that, but yeah, like you sort of say, the amount of girls that have come in and I've been like, oh, like, you know, how'd you find it? I've been like, oh, blah, blah. But I went to this shop and that, and you're like, yeah, I've heard about them before. I went to this shop, quite surprised at that, but heard of it, like, you know. And it's just like, you know, that whole, and again, it's like, you know, the kind of motto of the shop is like, if we can cut your hair and you're not a dickhead, we'll cut your hair.
Yeah, if I'm trained to do your hair,
if I can do it.
If you want this asymmetrical bob graduate, I'm not a hairdresser, I'm not trained as a hairdresser, and again, I will fuck it up.
And we're not going to go, oh, it's because you've got girls' hair.
No.
It's you've got hair that we can't cut.
Exactly, I'm not trained in the style you want at the end of it.
Yeah, and again, it's like, we're not going to give it a go just to take 20 quid off of you, because you ain't that's not what we do. We take the money off you knowing full well we've done a good service. Yeah, and I think that's definitely something that needs to be covered. It's just, you know, I say we've had, you know, gender fluid people, customers in here, non-binary people that don't want to identify as anything sort of. With trans customers, stuff like that. We've got couples that come in, you know, I've got like Joe and Roxanne that come in together and stuff like that, and Matt and Tom and stuff like, you know, couples of you know, in same-sex relationships and stuff like that, but they don't feel like they have to hide who they are or pretend to be anything. And again, you know, there's barber shops out there which I know they kind of look at it as like, well, you know, women have always had salons and stuff like that. It's like men still go into salons. So if women's sanctuary was a salon, then no men would go in there at all. And so I used to have me a cut in a salon. So like, I know there's some barber shops where they're trying to say, like, and again, I know men's, like, you know, again, that's something we'll go across. It's like men's mental health. You know, suicide of men is the biggest killer because we're too afraid to talk about stuff. So I know there's some barber shops that say that they want that barber shop to be like the men's safe space and stuff like that, and I get it. But it can still be a safe space cutting the odd woman's hair here and there that wants a skin fade. I say that's what we've wanted to create. We want it to be somewhere where you can feel comfortable, come and talk about your day, or not talk about your day, just have that half an hour to yourself after a long day, or, you know, getting away from the wife and kids and stuff like that, you know, having that little bit of time to yourself like your partner would and stuff like that. That's what we want, but it's not going to be like, oh no, sorry, we can't cut your hair because we're just trying to create it for something. So we want it to create it for everyone, and that's what I've had since the day we opened the shop. It's like anyone can be welcome. You know, we think like all different walks, you know, races, nationalities. Like we have everything coming here, which is amazing. And again, it's nice that, you know, we said about like the Asian students. We get a lot of Asian students. It's like, how did you know about the shop? Oh, one guy came in and then told all of us in the group chat, you know, all of us that hang out together, this is where to go. You know, again, stuff like that. It's lovely that. Because again, barbershops are intimidating. I look at barbershops and think, no, I won't walk in there in a million years, mate. And I'm in that industry.
100%.
I wouldn't want to walk in that shop. So you think about how, you know, a younger guy that might be a bit more intimidating and stuff like, or you know, a bit more sort of shy, nervous, something like that. And then you think about it from a woman's perspective as well. So yeah, it's trying to create it's just all round, isn't it? And like sort of say, the fact that we don't just get dudes in tracksuits wanting skin fades with a fag behind their ear.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with tracksuits. We like a tracksuit, but again, it's not just getting that same thing over and over again because the shop looks like that's the only thing I'm going to go and get. Because there is the shops that I've heard customers go where they've looked at it and gone like, I didn't think I'd really be able to go in there and get that haircut. As I say, you know, we won't name them, but you know, the chain that have now closed around here and that. I had customers going in and going like, I asked for a scissor cut and got told, no, I don't do scissor cuts.
Yeah.
No, either you haven't trained because you've only done a skin fade course, or you're too lazy.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't cut women's hair.
Yeah.
But she has, like Joe, one of my longest term regulars now, comes every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Skin fade side part. If you want to be picky, it's a man's haircut.
Yeah.
So if you're saying don't cut women's hair, even though it's not women's hair, it's just hair, but it's like, right, you might not cut women's hair, but you cut men's haircuts. Yeah. That's a hairstyle. It was already in a skin fade. What it do was just top it up. So little things like that. So 2 seconds, mate. So is that yours?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So but yeah. So we'll end on that. We'll cover other things, but not bad little first one. So
no, it's good.
Thanks for watching First Who's Next. If you've watched it at all or gave up after 2 minutes, but if you've made it this far, thank you very much.
Only one question left to ask. Who's next? Cheers for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, please hit subscribe somewhere down here. See you soon.